if the Iraq War was going on when Carter was in office, you know, that this would be the worst disaster ever that gets passed, and that's one of the things we've got to talk about. Did you meet any other presidents past Carter?
Yes, I actually, when Clinton won, about 2 or 3 weeks after he won, he came to Santa Barbara.
Right.
And I was working for a radio station in Santa Barbara, an FM. And one of our sponsors was the Nugget, which was in Summerlin. And I guess he was staying with, trying to remember the name of the people that produced the TV show that he stayed at their house. But it was some Hollywood people, and he and Hillary came out and met. And he actually came into the Nugget and walked around and met everybody and had some pictures taken. And then the Nugget started cashing in on it. They started having the Western White House T-shirts made up, which I always thought funny because the owner of the Nugget, Doug, was actually Republican, and I used to give him a lot of grief about cashing in on Clinton's visit.
Since he's, yeah. Well, if I have anything to do with it, John Edwards coming down, I'll get you an interview with him, so it'll be number 6. Is that right?
Yeah, it'd be number 6. And actually, if Mondale would have won, I did miss meeting Reagan because he used to come to Santa Barbara all the time. But somebody always, they'd always run out to the as Reagan drove by, and catching a glimpse of him that would run out because his ranch was just north of Santa Barbara. Right. So he used to actually fly into one of the naval bases, Port Hueneme, instead of the Santa Barbara airport, and then helicopter up. But a couple times he would drive through. And I always volunteered to just stay in the station because someone had to stay in the station while he went by because I wanted to keep my streak intact, only Democrat presidents.
There you go. Well, he wasn't a bad. We're going to take a quick break. Is that cool?
Yeah, it's perfect.
We'll take a quick break. Before we do, I wanted to send a shout out to the SEIU presidential fundraiser that's being held at Friday the 17th, that's next Friday, at the Mikasa Resource Center on 360 Acoma, 1 block west of Broadway at 4th. And that's starting at 7:30 p.m. There's going to be a comedy group called the Laughing Bean Players. My buddy Farron Fleming's going to be singing there, and he can sing like you wouldn't believe. If you want to go to that, give Sarah a call at 303-698-7963, extension 150. And we'll be right back. This is Ultimate Politics on 1510 AM. We're talking to Gary Eckman, who's been not only in the presidents of many of the presidents of the United States, but he's going to be here as we get ready to go to the 2008 Democratic Convention here in Denver. Gary, what do you think that's going to be? What kind of atmosphere is it? When I've heard people talking about being at a convention, you would think it'd be a lot of stuffy, no fun meetings and stuff.
That's Republican convention.
Oh, okay. That's well, it's too easy.
No, that was a softball. I'm sorry. That was too easy.
So, is it a lot of fun being involved with the conventions you were part of?
I went to the 60 convention in Los Angeles with my dad, and I was kind of young, so I didn't get to do too much of the fun late night stuff. But the 64 and the 68 convention, I went to both of those, which were 64, of course, Atlantic City, and it was, I'll tell you, it was so much fun because one, it was jammed, and 2, you're on the beach. Lucy and Linda would come in and they just run into the ocean in their clothes. Peter, Paul, and Mary were there. I think one of them was a delegate, but they were doing stuff. I went after one of the late nights. We stopped at a little restaurant to get something to eat about midnight, and Senator Stuart Simonton from Missouri was sitting right across from us, and everybody else was ordering drinks. And of course, I'm like 18 years old or 16, 17 years old, something like that. And I said, well, I can't have a drink. I want a hot fudge sundae. And Simonton goes, boy, that sounds a lot better than a drink. So Simonton and I sat there and had hot fudge sundaes together. So it's exciting. I was in the convention, on the convention floor. I had a pass when they showed 1,000 days, and I was standing maybe 10, 15 feet apart from Robert Kennedy, who was the one who would speak the next time. And a lot of people don't realize he was supposed to speak the first night, and what he did is he spoke the last night. And the reason he did is most of the people in the convention were Kennedy delegates from 4 years earlier. And if he had spoke the first night after 1,000 days, they would have nominated him. I mean, I've never been any place that had a longer standing ovation, literally over 15 minutes before he could speak. It was absolutely nuts.
I wonder how much talk there was of that with him running a 64.
Well, you know, they wanted him to, and then I don't know if you remember, or if you were even around then.
I've seen
what they did is LBJ did it really well. Is they wanted him to run for vice president. Of course, LBJ and Bobby did not like each other, and a lot of that because of when JFK ran against LBJ, there was a lot of bitter feelings, and Bobby didn't want LBJ to be the vice president. And Kennedy said, no, we need the South, we need Texas, you know, we need LBJ on the ticket. So when LBJ was doing, what he did is he made a blanket statement that nobody that was in his cabinet was going to be vice president. He was just ruling them all out. Well, he was ruling Bobby out. He wasn't ruling out, you know, Freeman or Dean Rusk or anybody else. He was ruling out Bobby. And Bobby promised he would stay on the year after President Kennedy was assassinated. But then, you know, he ended up running for Senate, and that was a great campaign. I went up there a few times to work in that campaign. He was running against Jacob Javits, and they were talking about dirty tricks. There are some funny things. Javits would not debate Bobby, and then all of a sudden one night there's a debate on, and Javits is talking, and there's a seat with Bobby's name in front of it, you know, Robert Kennedy, but they wouldn't let him in the studio. He's pounding. There's films of him pounding outside the door trying to get in the debate, but he wasn't invited. It was purchased by Javits,
right?
And it would say, look, he won't even show up. So I mean, there was, you know, you talk about dirty tricks now, but those days there was some funny things, and of course a guy named Dick Tuck used to do the funnier things. Like Nixon was on the back of a train one time, and Tuck dressed up as a engineer, and as Nixon started to speak, he waved the lantern and the train pulled out. So, you know, there's some fun things that we did back in those days. But conventions are a great time, and I'll tell you, conventions are not only at the convention, but the whole, you know, the issues before it and all the people. I mean, people be here 2 or 3 weeks ahead, if not more.
Well, we've got convention people in town already.
Right. But it's amazing how exciting it is and how accessible a lot of people are. And if you get a chance to go, or if you get a chance to go to any of the parties, and I don't know if you're a party man, but I'll tell you, Democrats know how to party.
They do know how to party. And as I've heard in an ad that I will be running on the website, that's www.ultimatepolitics.net, Democrats got it going on.